The Israeli-Palestinian conflict. For the past 70-plus years, Israelis and Palestinians have been fighting over one thing: land. Both claim this land is theirs, for both religious and historical reasons. Why can't they share it? Well, it's a complicated history.
Early history of Israeli-Palestinian conflict. In the 17 centuries BC, following the call of God, 3 patriarchs of the Jewish people, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, settled in Canaan, a region approximating present-day Israel, the West Bank, and the Gaza Strip, parts of Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan. The region later had the name the Land of Israel, the Promised Land, the Palestine region, or the Holy Land. In 1000 BC, King Saul established the Israelite monarchy, which then was ruled by King David, who made Jerusalem the capital of his kingdom, and his son King Solomon, who built the first temple in Jerusalem. After the death of King Solomon, the united monarchy was split into the Kingdom of Israel in the north, with Samaria as the capital, and the Kingdom of Judah in the south, with Jerusalem as the capital. The land became home to a majority of Jews, but then it was subject to numerous conquests of various groups, leading to the significant decrease of the Jewish population on the land. One of these conquests was conducted by the Roman Empire, who gave the name Palestine to Judah, intending to break the Jewish connection with the land of Israel. During this time, Christianity, which started as a Jewish sect, ultimately became a dominant religion toward the end of the Roman Empire. In the 7th century came an Arab conquest, beginning the spread of Islam. The Dome of the Rock was built on the ruin of the Second Temple, making Jerusalem the holy city to 3 monotheistic religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. After Christians in Jerusalem were intensely persecuted by the Seljuk Turks, a Central Asian empire with ambition to expand its territory, Christians in Europe launched several crusades to bring the holy city back to the hand of the Christians. During this time, many Jews were killed. Others were making pilgrimages everywhere, mostly in Western Europe. From the 16th century to World War I, the Holy Land, along with much of the Middle East, was ruled by the Ottoman Empire, an Islamic superpower. The land was unofficially called Palestine. At the same time in Europe, more and more Jews were joining a movement called Zionism, aiming to create a Jewish national state in its ancient homeland. Hence, in the first decade of the 20th century, tens of thousands of Jews moved from Europe back to the region. Israel and Palestine under the British rule. World War I exploded and ended with the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. Its land in the Middle East was carved by the British and French empires. The British then gave more independence for Iraq and Jordan, and the region remaining under the control of Britain was what it called the British Mandate for Palestine, where Britain promised to establish a Jewish national homeland under its Balfour Declaration, which went into effect in 1923. Tensions between the Jews and the Arabs who both claimed the land grew, which even led to acts of violence. By the 1930s, following the increasing Jewish population in Palestine due to the fear of persecution during the Nazi reign in Germany, the British limited Jewish immigration. In response, the Jewish militias formed to both fight the Arabs and resist the British rule. Then came the Holocaust throughout Nazi Germany, which claimed almost 6 million Jewish lives. After the war, more and more Jews then fled from Europe to Palestine to seek a homeland, escalating the tension with the Arabs. Overwhelmed by the situation, Britain began to withdraw from the region. The birth of the Israel state. After World War II, the UN proposed a plan to partition Palestine into 2 independent states, a Jewish state and an Arab state, with the city of Jerusalem becoming an international zone with a special status. However, the plan according to which the Jewish, accounting for only 1/3 of the population, was granted more territory, 56.5% of the land, was rejected by the Arabs. They began to form volunteer armies throughout Palestine. Less than 1 year after that, as Britain completed its withdrawal from Palestine, Israel declared itself an independent state, marking a new, bloodier chapter in the struggle between the Jews and the Palestinian Arabs.
In 1948, Israel declared independence from Britain. This sparked several wars. Israel captured more territory. Some Palestinians fled. Some were forced to leave. Today, Palestinians live in refugee camps in neighboring countries, in a place called the Gaza Strip. And in the Israeli-occupied territories, West Bank and East Jerusalem.
Neighboring Arab countries object to the land takeover, and on the day following the State of Israel Declaration of Independence, the first Arab-Israeli war breaks out. Israel is victorious and makes a grab for the land, intended for the Palestinian state under the UN's partition plan. The land gets divided into three parts. Jordan occupies the West Bank and East Jerusalem, Egypt occupies Gaza, and the State of Israel takes 78% of historical Palestine, including West Jerusalem. Fast forward to 1967, amid ongoing tensions between Israel and neighboring Arab countries, the Six-Day War breaks out. And by the end of it, the map looks something like this. Palestine is now fully occupied by Israel. Despite the absence of a formal peace treaty, things start simmering down. Then Israelis start settling into Gaza and the West Bank, resulting in a Palestinian struggle that gives rise to the PLO. Their main goal, to liberate Palestine from Israel by any means necessary. Fighting goes on for years. The PLO eventually accepts the division of the land between Palestine and Israel, but the conflict doesn't end there. More settlers make their way into Israeli-occupied Palestinian territories. The international community considers this illegal. The frustration among Palestinians leads to an intifada, uprising in Arabic. As a result, Hamas is born as a political movement determined to fight against Israel's occupation of the West Bank and Palestine's Gaza. Aiming to decrease tensions, Israel and the PLO signed the first Oslo Accords in 1993 and the second in 1995. The agreements lead to the splitting of the occupied West Bank into three sections. Area A, under full Palestinian control, Area B, under joint Palestinian-Israeli control, and Area C, under full Israeli control. But the solution creates a problem. Area C contains the majority of the occupied West Bank's agricultural land, water, and minerals. Palestinians have limited access to these. Further peace talks prove unsuccessful. Palestinians lose hope, resulting in the Second Intifada in 2000. And Israel begins constructing separation walls and building checkpoints to control and limit Palestinian movement. It's 2005, Israel withdraws from Gaza but continues to build illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank. Hamas gains power in Gaza and splits from the Palestinian Authority, seeing it as being too secular. The occupied West Bank and Gaza are now under separate leadership. After violence erupts in Gaza, Israel imposes a blockade on the besieged enclave, restricting any form of movement by land, air, or sea in 2007. Israel has carried out military assaults on Gaza in 2008, 2012, 2014, and 2021. 2022 became the deadliest year for Palestinians in the Israeli-occupied West Bank since 2005. In 2023, Israel carried out several violent attacks on Gaza and deadly raids in Jenin. On October 7, 2023, Hamas launched Operation Al-Aqsa Flood, its biggest attack on Israel yet. Israel responded by declaring war against Palestinians, heavily focusing its military campaign on bombarding the besieged Gaza.